Hello, welcome fellow Toastmasters and guests to the meeting of online presenters, a virtual Toastmasters club. I'm Sergeant at Arms Sunny Fridge, aka Dr. Sunny. Guests, please note to be a member of our club, we'd love to have you. In fact, you'd probably be the cat's meow. You must be a current or former active member of Toastmasters International and have completed at least 6 Toastmasters official speeches. However, if you have substantial relevant presentation experience, we welcome you to apply for membership after demonstrating your abilities in a 2 to 3 minute speech delivered during one of our club member meetings. That would be perfect. All requests for membership are subject to approval by our club members. If you have not already done so, please change your panel to ensure it displays your name and your role. Hover over your video and right-click and select Rename. Remember, mute your microphone when you're not speaking. We have members and guests from many countries throughout the world. As a professional organization, we ask that you please be aware of language or word usage that may be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. Please note that we are recording this meeting. Your video and audio contribution may be used for club marketing purposes. And now, please help me welcome to the virtual stage our club president, Mary Ann Grady. Welcome, Mary Ann.
Why, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Online Presenters. I hope that any of you who are dads out there had a lovely Father's Day, and we did here, honoring the dads in our family. Tonight, I would like to let you know what our club does. The club mission, Online Presenters Toastmasters, serves those who give online presentations professionally or who aspire to do so, whether that means public webcasts and live video or internal company video conferences and screen sharing sessions. So if you do those kinds of things, you are in the right place. Tonight, I just want to let you know that we have up and coming next week our tip-a-thon, and this is where we have 8 of our members giving a tip of the day, and it could be about leadership, tech, public speaking. It could be about so many different things, but just know that you will walk away with some wonderful nuggets to put in your pocket. So please don't miss that. And the following week on the 30th, we will have our officer installation. On the last day of June, the Toastmaster year ends and the new officers are taken over for July 1st. So please come and see the world champion of public speaking conduct our officer installation. It's that's going to be a very nice thing, and I'm so happy that Luisa Montalvo is able to come and do that for us. Now, I did want to give you one little tidbit before I pass this on to the Toastmaster of the day, and that is in 1902, The Wizard of Oz musical first opened in Chicago, Illinois. So I love The Wizard of Oz, so I just thought I'd share that with everybody. And with that, I will pass the virtual stage over to Ms. Allison Blakeman, our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Madam President, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. So glad to see that we have guests this evening. Our theme of the meeting is Take Your Cat to Work Day. And it's hilarious that I was picked to be the Toastmaster of the day. Maybe it's because I share on social media my coworker, Zaz, Z-A''AZ. They say that cats and animals mock their owners, and I'm kind of wondering what Zaz says about me. I'm sharing on the screen that Zaz hangs out with me for Toastmasters meetings and when I work through the day. Although she doesn't like me at my desk after 4 p.m. every day. The picture on the left was taken about 6:30 p.m. I had been 2.5 hours over her quitting time. She harassed me to the point where I stopped trying. I was ignoring her and paying attention to the call. She sat right in front of me and gave me the mean look. The picture on the right is I was doing the Toastmaster Leadership Institute training, and 3.5 hours into the meeting, she sat beside me and is like, I've had enough of this crap. She is so hilarious. The picture on the left I want to share with you is I was recently redoing my office and I moved out my old desk and partial of my new desk was put in. She wasn't happy. She likes things like me. She's a creature of habit. She likes routines. Well, I was on a call that morning on webcam and you can't really tell, but she is leaning off of my desk in my face and meowed at me to let me know her displeasure that I've disrupted the office. The other picture is an early morning call that she is sitting there like, oh, brother, enough of this. Throughout the workday, Miss Zaz can be seen lounging around my desk, even on Toastmasters meeting. Then occasionally when people are on webcam, she likes to say hello. I had to move my webcam up higher because a couple times she would look right in the lens and look right at them. So I wanted to share that with you. It was bring your cat to work day. And I'm always bringing my cat to work and to Toastmasters meetings. All right. Love to hear your stories, and hopefully we've got some good table topics on our four-legged friends. The word of the day, as you can see on the screen, is big cheese. I think that goes right along with bring your cat to work day. For those of you new to Toastmasters and just visiting with us, our meetings are broken up into 3 parts. The first part is prepared speeches. The second part is impromptu speaking, which allows us to improve on, table topics, which allows us to improve on our impromptu speaking. And then the third and final and most important part of our meeting is evaluations and feedback, where we receive positive and constructive feedback on our speaking so that we can better ourselves. To conduct tonight's meeting, I have some helpers with me tonight. And first off is going to be, and my agenda, oh, there we go, is I'm going to call on first the timer. Andre, can you please introduce your role and show the audience what you will be using to indicate timing, please?
Yes, certainly, Madam Toastmaster of the day. I'm Andre and I'm your timer. My role is simple. I will indicate a different lights. Probably show the first one is the green. When the speaker in prepared speeches spoken, say, for 5 minutes, we have 5 to 7 minutes, limits to an average speech. So 5 minutes is green, 6 minutes yellow, and 7 minutes is red. So when the speaker can see the red, it's time to wrap up. You have 30 seconds. Otherwise, you will be disqualified from voting for the best speaker for today. The same lighting scale will apply to table topics. Table topics, impromptu speeches, 1 to 2 minutes. And the same frame of lights will apply to evaluations, which is 2 to 3 minutes. I will put notes in the chat so then everybody else can see it. And good luck to everyone. Hopefully you will win. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Timer Andre. My next helper this evening for tonight's meeting is our counter. I would like to introduce Asil Boysen to tell us about the grammarian role and what she will be listening for. Asil?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As the counter, I'll be listening to filler words like and you see on my background. And I encourage everyone to pause instead. It helps you sound polished and confident like the big cheese of the room. I'll give my report at the end of the meeting when I'm called upon. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Asil. And Also, we have our grammarian, Graham Carnes. Would you please tell about the role and what you will be listening for this evening?
Certainly, Madam Toastmaster. I might say, by the way, before I go any further, that English is not so much a language as a group of people getting together in a trench coat, dragging other languages down the alleyway and mugging them. The reason I mention that is that our word for tonight is the big cheese, but you may not know where that comes from. In fact, the derivation of big cheese is from the Urdu word for thing, which is chiz. And so the real chiz was the real thing. That was adopted by British soldiers who were in South Asia. They then brought that back and it became, the real chiz, which then the Americans adopted from there to become the big chiz or the big cheese. And so the self-important person, the big cheese, actually comes from an Urdu word meaning thing. That's all I'm going to do in terms of the word, but as grammarian, what I will be looking for is your use of words like big cheese and your use of phrases and things that make the language soar and rise above and also make them crash and burn. So try not to have crashing and burning, have more soaring and light, because that's what I'll be looking for and reporting on later in the meeting.
Awesome. Thank you, Graham. Next, for our online presenters, we have a couple roles that are unique to our club here tonight. And the next role is our watcher. And hopefully I'm pronouncing your name wrong. It's Vishrud. Could you please tell us about your role? Go ahead.
Yes. Yes, you can call me Wish.
Wish.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As a watcher, my role today is to observe the visual aspects of a meeting. This includes body language, background setup, use of slides and props, camera framing, lighting, and also overall video quality. I will be watching everyone, not just speakers, but also to provide helpful feedback at the end of the meeting. The goal is to improve how we present ourselves visually in the visual setting. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Wish. All right. The next couple of roles are filled by some people that are a really big cheese, and that is our chat monitor, Dr. Andrew Byrne. Dr. Byrne?
Thank you very much. The role of the chat monitor is to watch the chat and to evaluate what is going on there to see if people are able to maintain patience and only put chats in when people are not speaking and to see what they have to say. I'll report on that during the evaluation section.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Byrne. And we have a vote counter. And Joni, would you please tell us what the vote counter you will be doing tonight in your role, please?
As the vote counter today, I get to select who will be chosen to be the big cheese with our speakers, our table topics, and our evaluators. And I'll do that by placing the handy dandy vote counter tool from our website in the chat. Everyone can vote. Make your vote count. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, for our tip of the day, I would like to introduce the very big cheese, Mr. David Carr. David.
Yes, I was going to claim credit as being a big cheese in digital marketing for Toastmasters Club. Apparently, according to Graham's translation, that means the self-important person. That might be true as well. One of the themes in Toastmasters actually is coming together with a group of people where you can practice in a context where if you screw up, it's not the end of the world. You can practice here and do things for real when it counts, and in the big professional speech, do better. One of the things I have been encouraging people to do over the years is to experiment with WordPress and read different design options that are available with WordPress. But people have a somewhat not unreasonable fear of screwing things up. And I'm going to show you a way around screwing things up, which is an environment called a playground. There's something that WordPress parent organization introduced a little while ago called WordPress Playground. So here I'm showing the online presenters website. So if I wanted to change the whole look of this website I could go down to themes and I could choose a different theme. What I'm going to do instead is go to this tab that says Design Playground. And so when I click Go to Playground, what this is actually doing is it is loading an entire web server into my browser. So this does not exist on any server anywhere. It's only for my use. It's only for my experimentation. And what it's doing is it's downloading a bunch of content into this fictitious virtual web server environment. And we can see something that looks pretty much like the online presenters website. And so now here, if I want to change the whole look of the site, I can go in here and I can choose this really dramatic loyal blue theme. And the entire look of the website has changed. However, again, I have not messed up my live website. And so I can experiment further with making little tweaks to this design. And when I have a little bit more confidence that I know what I'm doing, then I can go back and do it for real. Now, actually, if you go to the demo.toastmasters.org site, there's a version of this that you can use. Even if you don't have an admin account on our site, you can go in and use this version. It's loaded up over here. It looks pretty much the same. But again, I can experiment. I can make whatever changes here without breaking anything. And it's also a part of the promo that's on the homepage of Toastmasters.org, which is the WordPress-based website hosting service I've been promoting for a number of years. And this is not just for Toastmasters clubs either. This is a client of mine that runs a nonprofit news site in Florida, an investigative news site. And I found that some other examples of this WordPress playground technology would actually choke on trying to load this entire website because he's been adding articles for years. What this does is actually it just loads the articles that are linked to from the home page or on the menus so that I can still come in here. I can get a look at this site. If I wanted to make a change to the design, I can come into the site design tool, the edit site tool, and I'm going to just select this component up top that has the social media links and change that to be centered. And I can save that, and we should be able to see that on the site. It is now centered. And one of the things that I'm working on, and this is not quite ready for prime time, is there's a little checkbox here where I can post my changes back from the playground to the live website so that the experiments can become the reality. So this is one of the ways that you can play around with designs, and there is going to be a pro version of this too that I hope to charge for. So if you have a business website that uses WordPress, this is something that you might want to investigate. Madam Toastmaster.
Alison, we cannot hear you.
Oh, okay. How about now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, all right. Thank you, David. So I was saying, David, I wish I knew about the sandbox feature before on my website with WordPress. I totally messed up my website and had to redo some things from scratch, and it cost me a lot of time and a lot of aggravation. So that was a great educational moment. We appreciate that. All right, moving on to our prepared speeches. Our first speaker this evening is Mr. Joe Yang. Joe is speaking from the Presentation Mastery Path, his level 1 speech, Mastering Fundamentals, Evaluation and Feedback. This will be Joe's second speech in this pathway, and Joe's title is Tariffs. The tariffs are coming. Given the past few months, it's clear that tariffs will be, whether we like it or not, a constant in our lives for at least the next 4 years. But what are they and how do they work? in this speech, Joe will share with us and educate his fellow Toastmasters to help gain a better understanding of this ancient tool that is enjoying a renaissance here in the United States. Please help me welcome to the virtual stage, Mr. Joseph Yang. Joseph, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. My fellow Toastmasters, no matter where you're from or which country you live in, unless you've been living under a rock for the past few years, you mostly have heard the word tariff at least 100 times by now, most likely coming from a tweet. But putting aside the politics and the drama, what is a tariff? Is it good? Is it bad? And how does it impact the rest of us? And of course, tariffs are not to be confused with taffies. As you may know, is that delicious, chewy, stretchy, sweet candy that you can buy in coastal towns all across the eastern US seaboard. And if you haven't tried a saltwater taffy before, I highly recommend that you do. But back to tariffs. According to the internet, a tariff is a schedule of duties or tax imposed by a government on imported, or in some countries, exported goods. And interestingly, the word tariff has pretty ancient origins. The English word comes from the Italian word tarifa, which in turn is derived from the Arabic word tarif, which essentially meant the same thing, which is a set of duties to be imposed. However, a tariff is more than just a tax. They are tools used by governments since ancient times to regulate trade by making foreign goods more expensive. And they have historically used tariffs to raise revenues, protect domestic industries, and to exert political pressure on foreign countries. So how does a tariff actually work in concrete terms? How does it actually work? Who pays for the tariffs, right? Imagine a very simple supply chain with three parties. The foreign producer, the US or domestic importer, and the domestic consumer, which can either be a business or it can be you and I, my fellow Toastmasters. So the first step is the foreign company, let's say it makes ceramic plates or steel plates or automobiles or whatnot, sells them to an importer in the US. Step two, that importer then brings whatever products that it purchased to a US port of entry and pays a tariff to a customs official in exchange for the products being allowed into the US market, which is then sold to a US consumer. That is you or I, my fellow Toastmasters, or a business. So technically, it is the importer who pays the tariff, but the economic burden is often shared between multiple parties. In the face of a tariff, a producer might lower its cost, its prices to maintain an appropriate level of demand. And the importer might also choose to eat some of the tariff to maintain its relationships with its domestic distributors, and then pass the remainder to consumers. So all in all, tariffs, at least in the short term, increases the cost of goods sold for individual consumers and businesses, which naturally leads to lower demand and lower business profits. So it's probably not surprising that they have not been that popular in the last 50 years. So why have they apparently become the policy of choice for the current US administration? I am no political scientist or a policy expert, but I would like to offer my fellow Toastmasters three educated guesses, which is one, the US national debt crisis, and two, the rebuilding of domestic industries, and three, the use of tariffs for political leverage. Let's talk about the debt crisis first. Now, the US has almost 36 trillion debt and growing. In fact, it is one of the most indebted countries in the world. Impending tax cut legislation is expected to add another 9 trillion on top of that. So that's quite a lot of debt. And the US imports about 3 trillion of goods annually. So even if you apply a 10 to 20% of tariffs, that could generate quite a sizable chunk of change, although by itself, it's probably not going to solve our debt crisis. The second reason, potentially, is to rebuild domestic industry. Now, for decades, the US have lost manufacturing jobs, hundreds and thousands of them, to cheaper markets overseas. And there's some policymakers who think that by implementing a tariff and making foreign products and goods more expensive, it could lead to more factories, more jobs coming back to the US, and ultimately a stronger domestic industrial base. But the issue there is that in the era of global trade, where everything is connected, tariffs might hurt the very industries that policymakers are trying to rebuild. Think car manufacturers, constructions, or food processing. In the era of global trade, everything is interconnected, and these industries might see their input costs increase as foreign raw materials become more expensive. Finally, tariffs, as they have always been used since ancient times, is likely being used right now for political leverage. And like sanctions and military aid, they can be used as bargaining chips in international negotiations. Don't like the way that American companies are being treated in China? Threaten a tariff. Want Mexico to curb immigration flows? Threaten a tariff. And whether this approach is effective or sustainable is debatable, but there's no question that it gives the administration a immediate leverage and a public signal that it is, quote unquote, doing something. So, my fellow Toastmasters, let me leave you with this. Tariffs are like hammers, powerful but blunt. In the right hands, they can build industries, restore balance, and protect national interests. But in the wrong hands, they can shatter economies, inflate prices, and provoke trade wars. Tariffs are a tremendously important part of how other countries and their people perceive the United States. And if you live in the US, take the time to educate yourself about tariffs and consider writing to your local congressman to urge thoughtful, cautious use of them. Thank you very much. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Joe. What a very insightful speech. All right, our second prepared speech for this evening is Karry Kong. Karry will be speaking from the Dynamic Leadership Path, her Level 3 project, Increasing Knowledge, Understanding Vocal Variety. Her title is Pride and Prejudice. This is a project focused on learning and practicing the importance of vocal variety. In this speech, Karry will use changes in tone, pitch, pace, and volume to bring to life a classic love story that took place in the 19th century, Hertfordshire, England. Please help me welcome to the virtual stage, Karry Kong.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster today, Allison. This was in the 19th century in Hertfordshire, England. It all started when a rich bachelor moved in the neighborhood, and every single mother within 10 miles lost their minds. See, my mother shrieked one morning, running with a letter. It was like a treasure in her hand. Netherfield Park is let and last. A man with large fortune. You must marry him. But Mom, I groaned, I don't want to marry someone just because he owns a carriage and 3 cows. She didn't even flinch. She just shouted back at me, then marry him for the carriage, Elizabeth. This is how I ended up at the Meriton Ball, surrounded by lace, ribbons, and approximately 1 million dancing feet stomping like panicked horses. I was at the ball and I was really excited. There was where I met my Mr. Darcy. Ah, Mr. Darcy, tall, rich, handsome, and proud, possibly part statue. But I overheard him sneered to Mr. Bingley. She's tolerable, I suppose, but not handsome enough to attempt me. Not too sure. Tolerable? Sir, I didn't even want to tempt you. I was just here for the dancing and snacks. Honestly, I wouldn't have even had more fun talking to the punch bowl or a goat. Me. But then at least the goat wouldn't judge my hemline. But then something changed. Mr. Darcy started staring at me. He was staring at me, actually, not glancing, staring. And I was a little bit nervous. It was like I was a riddle made of lace and sass. One afternoon, when I was out walking, I heard somebody behind me. Step, 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 step. I turned. Oh, Mr. Darcy. It was him. I was really nervous. He was standing there like he just materialized out of mist and brooding. Miss Bennet, he said, all serious. I have struggled in vain, but I must tell you, I love you. Oh, what? Mr. Darcy, you couldn't be kidding, right? He insulted me. He insulted my class, my family, and my dignity. In the same breath, he told me he loved me. Okay, no, I kind of exploded. There may have been some steam coming out of my ears. He was insulting me. But then I left him. We stood in silence. I didn't see him for a while afterwards. As a long, honest letter arrived in the next day, I received it. It was in another side of the story. It was the truth. He gave me a lot of explanations. He explained why he separated Miss Bingley from my sister. It was not because of dislike. It was because he thought Jane's feelings weren't very certain. He also revealed the truth about Mr. Wickham, who had also lied about him, that I had serious misunderstanding about him. For the first time, I saw Mr. Darcy not as a proud, arrogant person. I saw him as responsible and honorable. And suddenly, I wasn't sure anymore. My heart was pounding. Later, I went to visit his estate in Pemberley. And oh, it was stunning. That was definitely the nicest estate I've ever seen in my life. I have expected the birds to start singing, tweet, 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 tweet. But more than the estate, I saw him. He was standing there, kinder, humbler, even so gracious, even he was talking to my loud aunt. And this time, he asked me again. It was gentle, it was vulnerable. Dear Elizabeth, if your feelings have changed, can you tell me all at once? Do you love me? I smiled. This time, when he asked me again, I felt my heart was pounding really fast. My feelings are different now, so I responded to him. Mr. Darcy, I love you. I would like to accept your proposal. So yes, I married the man who once called me tolerable, and I have zero regrets. Because love is not about perfect beginning. It's about how we see each other. This is my love story, full of pride, prejudice, but one unforgettable man, Mr. Darcy. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Karry. Wow, two incredible speeches tonight. Who's going to come out and win the Big Cheese Award for the best speaker this evening? All right, moving on to our next segment of our meeting is our table topics. Gives us a chance to practice our impromptu speaking. I would like to introduce the Big Cheese for the table topics. Please help me welcome Joni Renee Laidlaw to the virtual lectern. Joni, the floor is yours.
Thank you to our Toastmaster of the evening. Now, in your next management meeting with the Big Cheese, there are some actionable items that need to be brought to the table due to lack of core competencies being exhibited. These are a couple of questions that I think will be answered or need to be answered at your next management meeting. Now, the first question: why do you keep petting me after I have told you to stop? And this one is going to go to Jim Barber.
Oh, thank you, Madam Table Topics Big Cheese. Why do I keep petting you after you've told me to stop? Well, I have found through the years that what a cat tells me and what a cat wants can be two distinctly different things. I don't want to say that the cat lies, but as much as it, well, maybe misrepresents the truth. That maybe the truth has changed a little bit. But when a cat says that she doesn't want to be petted anymore, I don't know if she really means that, or if that's her way of flirting with me, of daring me to say, come on, pet me some more. I dare you. Come on, do it. And I really don't know what the correct response is. Do I pet her? Do I not pet her? If I don't pet her and she's expecting to be petted, I'm in for a world of hurt. On the other hand, if I continue to pet her and she did not want to be petted, then of course I'm in a world of hurt there also. I do not own a cat. I've never owned a cat. And so consequently, everything that I was describing really is not anything that I've learned about cats. But it is pretty much what I've learned about dealing with my wife. And so it's kind of along the same principles. What she tells me to do and what she actually wants me to do can be two totally different things. And so all I can really do is just kind of proceed to pet her if I think that that's probably the best thing. And if I've guessed wrong, then I'm just going to have to take my lumps. Madam Table Topics Big Cheese.
As an avid cat owner, Jim, I can tell you that when a cat says stop, it means stop. No means no. Our next table topics question: why can't I have fish for every meal? And that's going to go to Dr. Andrew Burns.
Thank you very much, Johnny. Can you confirm the question? What would I do if I had to eat fish for every meal?
Why can't I have fish for every meal?
That's an interesting question for me because I generally don't eat fish. So I would starve. Usually the only fish I eat is tuna fish on a limited basis, gefilte fish, and lox in the form of salmon. But even that on a very limited basis. So I believe that I would not do well in recommending that. Some of it is dietary discretion. Some of it is what I know about fish and what I know about the environment and what can happen when you eat those kinds of fish. So those things weigh on me. It didn't do me any good to spend a year and a half taking parasitology in college. And then I learned all the different things that are in the ocean, in fish, and then get into people. So those things did not help me think about fish in a way that I want to pursue eating them. There are things, for example, the French love their mussels and clams and crustaceans. They also have the highest level of hepatitis A and liver transplants due to liver failures from eating those things. You have other people that eat things that can be dangerous. The Japanese have a famous dish that they take, and if they don't cook it correctly and make it correctly, you die from it. So that's an experience I don't want to go through. In any event, fish are something that some people absolutely love. They can have it all day long, even if they're not stranded on an island by themselves. For me, I stay away from the fish. Thank you.
Valid reasons on that one why no fish for every meal. But I think most cats would want to chance that one. For the next question, why do you get upset about me jumping on the counter or the table? And that's going to go to our guest, Mitesh. Why do you get upset about me jumping on the counter or the table?
Why do I get upset jumping on the counter or a table, is it?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, that was a question.
Um, yeah, it is pretty distracting if someone is jumping on the counter and and the table because I think like we are programmed in our brain to have everything clear, not distracting, so it does not really distract our focus in what we are doing. And it is little bit disturbing as well if someone is jumping on the counter or table. Maybe in bit they come to you. Like you cannot function. You are I guess you are set up in a office or residential at residence or in an office, so you tend to really get distracted, and it could produce it would not it would like people are used to silence when they are operating. So I think jumping on a table is kind of distracting. It could be noisy as well, and it really disrupts the person who is working peacefully and silently. Over to you, topic master.
Well, as an owner of a cat, I can tell you, yes, nothing disrupts, and there is no chat time like when you're doing something for them to choose to jump on the table to disrupt. And yes, it is very distracting. For our next question, why do you yell at me when I sharpen my claws on the big, fluffy scratching post you call the couch? And this goes to our guest, Steve.
Madam, table topic, big cheese. I'm afraid to answer this question because that's the rule. That's the rule. Couches are expensive, Mr. Cat. I appreciate your nature wanting to sharpen your claws, and it just makes so much sense because it's just right there and so perfect for sharpening, and it takes every instinct in the cat to overcome it. But yes, we don't let that happen at our house. And usually you take a plastic water bottle and crunch it just a little bit, and the cat will just bolt, just can't handle that noise. So it's an ongoing struggle. We've tried the cat post scratchers, those don't do the job. It's not as good as the couch, and I think it's going to be a forever battle with Mr. Yoshi. But back to you, Madam Table Topics.
You buy the expensive toy, and then Mr. Yoshi chooses to play with the box. Quick tip, just leave the box. Whatever floats his boat, right? Whatever sharpens his claws. Thank you for that, Steve.
Yes.
And it's a good thing he didn't hear you, or he might have to
Yeah.
have a strong word with you after this meeting. Just look around, make sure he didn't hear. For our next question, why do you insist on combing me? And that one is going to go to our Toastmaster of the day, Allison Blakeman.
All right. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. Why do I insist on grooming you? Because you have long hair. You're a long hair Scottish fold cat. And you lick yourself quite often cleaning your fur. And when you do, your fur gets knotted up. I do that because a little bit of pain now saves me a lot of pain in the future when I am trying to get the gnats out of your fur that has made you so miserable, and you are scratching at me and hissing and moving in all different directions. So that's one of those life lessons that you have to, a little bit of pain now is better than a lot of pain and discomfort later. That is why I groom you. Also, I groom you to keep your fur so soft and fluffy so that you look so pretty and neat and don't look like a rat's nest of fur walking around the house. It is also a pleasure to brush you because it relaxes me and I get to talk to you. That is why I groom you. Back to you, the big cheese, Madam Table Topics Master of the Day.
Point taken and accepted, but it's still not particularly pleasurable. For our next question, why do you take so many pictures of me? And this goes to our VPPR Critica.
What a question that you have asked me, Toastmaster Yogi. I obviously have to take a lot of pictures of each one of you separately and then make it into a collage so that we get a memory. We create memories, and we also create a book of treasures that we have to take it forward to the next generation of Toastmasters officers and to the fellow Toastmasters. I didn't want to be a big cheese here, though. I just wanted to be one significant person who also have the rights to influence fellow Toastmasters through taking beautiful pictures and also posting it in the social media platform. But you did not give me the rights to take a group photo or to post it in the chat. That's so unfair, Yoni. That's so unfair. Still, I had to influence fellow Toastmasters through such speeches, which needs to be posted, and also through chatting that could be also a way to influence fellow Toastmasters and to also engage them in a fruitful way. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to take beautiful pictures of you all fellow Toastmasters. As a message, I wanted you all to post your selfie when you can find time. Over to you, Yoni.
Is the only answer I have to that one. And we will move on to the next question. For my final question, why do you have to split your love and attention with the dog? And that one is going to be a throw up for anyone who wants to volunteer. Why do you have to split your love and attention with the dog? First person to unmute gets the answer.
Meow, 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 meow. Oh, hang on, translation's not working. Why? Why? I was here first. I have been here since the time of the ancient Egyptians. You should be venerating me as the god that I am as a cat, not these puppies, these dogs, these renegade wolves that you've turned from a wolf into a yip, 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 little thing. No, 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 no. I am the god here. I am the cat. I am the one that you should be giving all your love. Oh, I'll let you show some affection to the dog, because the dog is useful in keeping other cats away, so that I am in the position of dominance that I should be. But affection is not love. You should save your love for me and not for the dog. Meow.
The only thing I have to say, and hopefully the translation feature got it. That was all of our table topics for today. And hopefully y'all will get to pick the big cheese with our votes. Back to you, our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. Now we get to move on to one of the most important part of the meeting, evaluations and feedback. To lead this portion of our meeting, I would like to introduce to you the big cheese, the one, the only, Dr. Sonny Fridge. Sonny.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Allison. I don't mean to be catty, but this is my time to be a big cheese because I get to evaluate our meeting, to share what we've done well and what we can do to improve our meeting. But I don't do it alone. As a matter of fact, I have a couple of big cheeses that will be coming on to help us out. First, we will have speech evaluations, because now what we're doing for this part of the meeting, first we had prepared speeches, then we had our thinking on our feet. Now we're testing our listening skills. So our first speech evaluator to evaluate the tariff speech by Joe Yang is Karthika. Please help me welcome Karthika to the virtual stage.
Thank you, fellow Toastmasters. Yo Young, what a topic that you have selected. A sensational, a sensitive topic, that too, which is burning right now, happening all through this week. US trade law, global trade, and its implication over two nations which are fighting terribly, I would say. Yes, I appreciate the effort that you have taken to become a big cheese of today. Let me get into what you have done really well. Your framing, your visual framing, as well as the vocal variety, has got you 100, or I should say 200% of what you have done. It has come out really well. I sometimes also thought that you were using a teleprompter to process the exact usage of words in your delivery. Let me say, from the old report that I took notes as rocking and gesture being one of your backlogs that you need to work on. Here, you distracted the audience, giving it into a visual content through your presentation that obviously made a lot of value to your presentation. This divided attention also helped us to understand the way Your three reasoning has been structured. One, the why and where. The second is what will happen and how it is going to impact. This is highly what a Toastmasters message should give to the audience. You obviously have captured the audience. Now, let me also get you into certain areas where you wanted to work on. The zone of appropriateness always matters. To your speech, this speech could be taken to the researching topic or the next level of your speech. Though you have taken it as a premature content to be delivered, I strongly recommend you and I also suggest you to consider a researching topic kind of involvement of tariff as a continuation to your pathway. Your conclusion and deduction message was slightly weak as described by Marianne in her old note, and it always is true as you have presented in this meeting too. I request you to have a bit more strong message and the call to action so that it gives audience a sense of thinking, and their thought would obviously give lot of value to the next action steps that is being taken forward as a group of Toastmasters, as a group of citizens, as a group of people who are watching this. Overall, your presentation was great. You were looking great and the vocal variety was great. That's all. Over to you, Sunny.
Thank you so much, Kartika, for that great evaluation. Now, let's hear from another big cheese. She's going to see about a little pride and a little prejudice. Please help me welcome Mary Ann Grady to the virtual stage as she evaluates Karry Kong.
Why, good evening, my friends, and good evening, Karry. I really enjoyed your speech about the Pride and the Prejudice. You took us back to the 19th century England with both your speech and your background. You used some interesting phrases that I liked. Treasure in her hand, panicked horses. You also were very successful using voices when you were talking about the mother talking to your character. You use different voices, and when you're telling a story without any visual aids, it's often hard to keep track of who's talking. So when you did that, it made it much easier for us to follow your story, so that was well done. Your facial expressions drew us in further. You could see disappointment, happiness, disdain. I was very impressed with those facial expressions. One thing that didn't work for me was when you said tweet, tweet, tweet. Um, it just sounded like words, like not like musical birds or anything like that. So, if you could make it a little softer, a little more bird-like, that would be better for me. The other thing was that I think might have been more effective was when you were taking steps, you got closer to the screen. But I think it would have been more effective if you just used your feet to make step sounds, so you could hear the footfall when somebody was coming. So just a thought. Let's see. Usually you speak very quickly. Tonight you were in great control. The cadence, it sped up, it slowed down, it got softer, it got louder. You were wonderful with your vocal variety, which was your project tonight. So that was extremely well done. I found it was amazing how Mr. Darcy went from being proud and arrogant to somebody that you would consider marrying. And honestly, as you were telling this story and you got to that point where you got the letter and you were reading his proposal to you, you smiled the most genuine smile. I believed that you loved him at that point. It was just magical. It was wonderful. So I think you did a well-crafted story that, and it's a little different than a speech, so, and I think you found that when you were putting it together because it was, I thought, remarkable. So I enjoyed it, and I wanted to say that in our club with your speeches, you are becoming quite the big cheese. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
From one big cheese to another. Well done, Marianne. Now here is where we find out that teamwork makes the dream work. I have many helpers today, and I'm going to start with our timer. Mr. Timer, how did our evaluators do? Did they make their time?
Madam General Evaluator, I placed our evaluator's timing in the chat. Kritika, 3 minutes 37 seconds. I think she went over time slightly, and Marianne, she was within the time frame. Back to you.
Did you say 3:27?
3 minutes and 37 seconds.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you. That would mean that she went over time. Okay. All right, Mr. Big Cheese Timer. Thank you for that. Do you have anything else to report before I move on? You're good. Okay, everything's in the chat. All right, thank you. It doesn't hurt sometimes just to practice our time out loud. Now, so let's welcome a seal to the virtual stage. Madam Wizard of Oz, tell us how he did today. A seal.
Madam General Evaluator, thank you. As the silent cat, or should I say, the tiny little dog in the corner, I've been listening closely to everyone, and some of you did meow or bark out a few filler words. The most used was so. It popped up a few times. Still, you all spoke with such poise, confident. You were big cheeses today. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you so much for letting us know that we're getting better at those ahs. And there's the power of the pause. And I'm not talking about cat paws. I know that was cheesy. Moving on. Let's see how we did with the King's English. Please help me welcome Graham Cairns, our grammarian, to the virtual stage.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Those who used the word cheese included Asil, Alison, Joni, David, Jim, Steve, Katika, Sunny, Marianne, and Sunny again, multiple times, in fact. It occurred to me that this was nacho cheese. Sorry, that's when it belongs to somebody else. By the way, what happens when the cheese sees itself in the mirror? It goes, hello, me. No more cheese puns, I promise. Handy dandy was a lovely phrase that I thought was used by Jody. Insightful came from Alison. Jim, lies? No, misrepresenting the truth. I thought that was a beautiful way of putting it. We create memories, but we also create a book for future Toastmasters. Kritika, that was a really nice construction. Y'all will get to from Jody. Now, I'm a bit conflicted about y'all. I love it as a word, but I also hate it as a word, so I'll just leave that there. Marianne spoke about cadence, and here's something that I did not know until I looked it up. I always thought of cadence as being the step, but in fact it's from the Latin meaning to fall, and it is specifically relating to the way that we speak. And so when we talk about the soldiers marching cadence, it's not the march that is in cadence, it is the call that they are doing. We're gonna walk now, we're gonna walk, whatever. That's the cadence. Some of you did meow or bark filler words. That obviously came from Asil. One thing I would say, and I know I'm taking much too much time for the grammarian's role, but I think it's important. Karry's retelling of Pride and Prejudice reminds me a bit of the Gettysburg Address. It was a beautiful retelling, but it lost some of the original language. And I'd just like you to compare these two versions of the Gettysburg Address. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. That could just as easily be said 87 years back, we kicked out the Brits and started an experiment in democracy. Means the same thing, doesn't have anywhere near the same grammatical impact. Madam General Evaluator.
Wow, taking us back in time today. I love it, and I think King Charles would be very pleased with your evaluation. Now, who's watching you and me? I think today it was Dr. Andy Byrne. What's up, Doc?
Thanks, Sonny. The chat was active. As usual, we were very welcoming to all our guests and comments were made. We were supportive of our members, having our members receive nice notes of congratulations from their activities on the club, whether it's a speaker, evaluator, table topics. And we had, of course, the placement by Andre of times right in the chat, so you didn't have to worry about who did what when. That's very effective when it's done that way. And pretty much everyone did well on their grammar. So nothing to complain about there. I think we did well. Back to you.
Hello.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I think I lost the video and the audio for a second.
No,
Is it
we've
my
still got
role?
you. We're just waiting for Sunny to return.
Oh, sorry.
Well, she did say watcher, even though she called
Oh,
distinguished
sorry,
Toastmaster
I missed that.
Andrew.
Sorry.
But you can go ahead with your watchers report while we wait on her to rejoin.
Yep, I'm so sorry. I'm so confused. But yes, good evening, everyone. And I just want to reiterate what I do as a watcher. I observe visual elements for today's meeting, body language, eye contact, lighting, background, hand gestures, and camera setup. First of all, Joe, amazing speech. Your eye movement and the slide usage was super effective. And I think a bit more intention on your hand gesture would enhance the total impact. The lighting was also super solid. Karry, your speech delivery was super engaging and expressive gestures were amazing. Just watch on the mic sensitivity when you're coming a little bit forward. Apart from that, Jim, Dr. Andrew, Mitesh, Steve, Allison, Kritika, you all showed strong eye contact and gestures while giving the speeches. Small minor video issues, but nothing took away from the messages. And remember, if you're not the big cheese, even if you're not the big cheese in the meeting, please place yourself at the center of the screen. It helps you look apart. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vish. And I wish that I had plugged my battery in sooner, but I am back. And thank you for whoever kept this meeting. The show must go on. Finally, I will now give an overall view of the meeting quickly. And I would like to say it's great that we started on time. One thing I particularly liked today was the fact that both speakers had their speech intros in on time, and our Toastmaster of the day did a great job reading them and letting us know what's to come. And that actually probably helps the speech evaluators as well as the audience. So great job on that. We had such creative chats and opinions and fun with a great theme, the cats and Big Cheese. I loved it. And I also would like to say that make sure if you're going to be in a meeting that your computer is charged. I had a lot of fun today. And I will return control to the big cheese, Madam President, Mary Ann Grady. Thank you, Marian.
Thank you, Sunny. Allison, did you want to have any closing remarks?
The only closing remarks that I have is what a wonderful meeting. I'm glad that we had guests here tonight to witness this. We had a lot of fun. I seen a lot of watching everyone's beautiful faces. There was a lot of smiles, a lot of laughter, a lot of participation. It's a great meeting. And for the guests that join us, I hope you come back. For me, this was the very first Toastmasters meeting I ever joined, and I was welcomed by everyone here. This is such a wonderful, positive, uplifting, encouraging club. Please come back and please consider joining us and becoming a member. Madam President.
Thank you. And David, are you our vote counter tonight?
Yes,
That would be
I
me.
believe Joni is the vote counter. Go ahead, President Marianne, you take over for me.
That would be me.
Oh, Joni, yes, yes. I'll do the drum roll. Let's see.
All right. So for best evaluator, that one was a given, Marianne Grady, based on time. But as it relates to our best speaker, it was really close, by the way. But Joe took it with his speech on tariffs. No, finally, for the winner of the best table topic speaker, there was another winner, but he did not speak long enough. So again, time. But our winner, who did? Jim Barber. Back to you, Madam President.
Well, thank you, Joni. All righty, so let me just touch base with our guests tonight. Mitesh, what do you think of our meeting this evening?
Yeah, your meeting was pretty good as usual. Thank you. Over to
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Well, Vish, thank you for stepping in and helping us, but can you give us your thoughts on tonight's meeting?
I think as usual, I think like I mentioned, super intellectual, like I went last time. I think I enjoyed all the speeches. It was different from last time. And I love the topic today. I mean, it was I mean, I wouldn't think of that kind of a topic as super on top of my head, but yes, really enjoyed today. Thank you so much.
Well, glad you can make it. Steve, how about you?
Hi, good evening, Madam President. I thought it was another great meeting. I like how it's weekly, so I can hop on. It's convenient. I love the theme. I have a cat. I never thought I'd be a cat person growing up, but I am totally 100% a cat person. It does happen. You do transition. And overall, the speeches were great. Joe, awesome, right on point with bringing that to the forefront. I mean, these are ongoing discussions, and it's important to talk about what they mean. So thank you for that. And Karry, I thought that was really animated. I loved it. It was very dramatic, like acting, or I don't know. I thought they were both great, and yeah, I'll keep coming back. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Okay, now again, a quick reminder, next week is our Tipathon on the 23rd, and on the 30th, we have our new officer installation. So lots of fun things coming down the pike, and we look forward to seeing you there. I'm going to leave the mic open for a little while, so if anyone wants to stay and chat, but the meeting is officially over. Thank you, everybody.